There's a global shift in power that is moving from the west to the east. And right now, the west is shaking actually. So what happened during the week? So over 20 leaders from the global east or from the global south, all of them met in China to discuss and talk about their future. And among it all, the most important thing that has really brought the highlight was their military parade. You know, China was celebrating 80 years since Japan surrendered in the Second World War. And with this, they came up with they organized their largest military parade ever seen in the world. And then with this parade came with a lot of, you know, interesting stuff actually, with leaders, world leaders like Vladimir Putin of Russia, North Korea's Kim Jong-un, of course China's leader Xi Jinping, President of Turkey Erdogan, and a whole massive 20 leaders all together working side by side, discussing. Even for the meetings, it exceeded the period it was supposed to last. It made the West to shake, and then Trump talking about these leaders conspiring against the United States of America.
Well, I've already done that with regard to India, and we're doing it with regard to other things. And I put out a truth last night. You saw that, and I was the one that brought it up. I said they're only doing this. They're looking to when they did what they did. I thought it was a beautiful ceremony. I thought it was very, very impressive. But I understood the reason they were doing it, and they were hoping I was watching, and I was watching. My relationship with all of them is very good. We're going to find out how good it is over the next week or two. I think that we helped China very much, as you know, when they talk about freedom. And I don't believe that, and maybe I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't believe that America, that the United States was acknowledged for helping China to gain its freedom. But perhaps that was just that was a sleight of hand. I mean, I was very surprised. I watched the speech last night. President Xi's a friend of mine, but I thought that the United States should have been mentioned last night during that speech because we helped China very, very much.
I mean, why would you be concerned about a group of people meeting and celebrating militarily, making a parade and all of that? Why would you be afraid of that? Why would you be concerned with this? This military parade, right, gave China the opportunity to flex its military power. With AI integration, with, robot dogs, robot wolves, and other beasts, which is like crazy. Lots of new missiles that have never been seen in the world. Lasers that can take down swarms of drones, different types of drones, helicopter drones. Literally every single aspect of their military is advanced, 6th generation, which is crazy. Different kinds of aircrafts here and there. And with their military parade, the army marching simultaneously with precision was incredible. And this whole meeting, together with the parade, started from 31st of August to 1st of September. That was when the whole meeting came off. And then the parade was held on 3rd September. And this was massive, was crazy. Now let's talk about some of the things that came off during the meeting. Some of the policies that was discussed during the meeting, if all of these policies are implemented, is going to disrupt the West, honestly, hands down, without any retaliation from it. Because we are talking about China promising billions upon billions of yuan to help these economies and these their members, right, to grow their economies. There's this organization that they set up called the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and it is a group of we'll say it is a group of countries that have come together talking about businesses and making strategic partnerships that are going to help their economy grow and become powerful and great. And so these policies were discussed, and then when they are implemented, global monetary institutions like IMF and the World Bank are going to be disrupted totally, because there's been a lot of complaints recently that IMF and its initiatives are more like very, very difficult to hold on. It's like they serve a certain number of countries more than the other countries, and this is very, very concerning. you know all of these things are part of the reasons why these countries have come together to talk about this. And even for the recent years, some countries even leaned on to the West. But then it is very shocking that they are even present at this meeting. We're talking about countries like Serbia and countries like Turkey. All of them leaned on to the West. They shifted to the West, but now they are at the meeting. It's very, very shocking, and it's very interesting actually. Let's talk about some of the things that came off during this incredible meeting, this great meeting. So, the president of China, Xi Jinping, called for peace. He made a bold call not for war, but for peace. This is very, very interesting. This is what we are talking about, not the warmongering Western countries that are only for the interest of themselves. And he also made a call for a new system that favors the global south, where every country is treated equally and all the wealth are shared among everybody equally, no matter who you are, where you are. Trade and negotiations are made and performed in favor of each and every single country. This is really, really good, and this is really, really what we are looking for in a very promising leader and a promising team. When we talk about the global south, we are talking about countries in Asia, countries in Africa, and countries in Latin America. Do you get? Because they are the countries that come up together to form the global south. And then we have the west, that you talk about the UK, the US, and the rest. Did you get? Yeah. France and co. That is what that's what we call the global south and the west. So yeah, another thing that also came off was establishing a new development bank that is independent and stays on its own. So with this establishment, it will help their members and their countries to be able to have another alternative, so that they will depend on this new development bank rather than the IMF and then the World Bank. This is crazy, because when it is implemented, it is going to distract global financial systems in the West, and it's going to make the US and the Western countries lose its influence in this global south. And another thing too was the push for AI integrated projects, renewable energy projects, and also China inviting these member countries of the SCO to also join them in their China Moon Exploration Program. This is very, very interesting and incredible, because when they all come together as one people to support each other, it makes them greater and greater, and it makes China the center of this whole new revolution, coming forward with a new world order, one that is multipolar, meaning that every single country is independent and is treated among everybody equally, without discrimination, without any form of bullying or anything. Because the thing is that whenever the US puts tariffs upon tariffs on these countries, it makes them, the more he does that, the more they come together to strengthen their bond and all of these things. Can you imagine China coming together in the same meeting with Pakistan, in the same meeting with Putin, in the same meeting with North Korea? This is crazy, absolutely mind-blowing. So talking about China promising billions upon billions of yuan to support these countries, not to um, depend on the IMF and the World Bank. I think I mentioned that already. But let's move on to talk about the parade. What really brought the whole conversation, the whole idea of the US, talking and becoming jealous and actually being afraid. Because me, I feel like this is a sign of being afraid of what is coming. Because, bro, when you watch the parade, it is very, very interesting. Everything was coordinated precisely. There was no mistake. You never see a soldier or an army personnel moving the wrong direction. Everything was in line like crazy. So let's look at the parade. Let's look at what went on, and then we'll move on. With the parade, it was very, very interesting because what the US didn't like was its enemies. When we talk about its enemies, we're talking about North Korea, we're talking about Russia, we're talking about, China itself, and then even India. All of these leaders walking side by side each other, laughing in unity, talking about how the parade is going, make pointing specific details within the parade. That is what made the US begin to, envy and talk about it, and is a whole lot. One crazy fact about it was that um, for Kim Jong-un, the president of North Korea, it was his first time traveling to China in so many years. And then this time he came with his daughter, his beautiful daughter. And recently there's been a lot of, rumors about his succession plans. And then, like, in every meeting he takes his daughters and all that. So if that is happening, then it means that he's planning, who is going to succeed him when he's no more. Those rumors are there. And one crazy thing that happened was with all these things, Kim Jong-un arrived late. Why did he arrive late? So he traveled all the way from North Korea to China in an armored train. And he got there. It took him 20 hours to get there, making him late for the event. This is crazy. Because while other countries are, traveling with their aircrafts, their planes and all of that, Chairman is riding in his train. Crazy stuff. It was the perfect moment for China to flex its powers, its military powers, and be like, yes, we have truly been able to build our military to this point. Because China has really gotten a dark history when it comes to, suppression and all of those things. It has a really, really dark history because it was never free in the past century, and then for them to be able to come all the way rising up to this level, because at that time China didn't have a solid military compared to now, but now they are the they are the leaders when you talk about innovation, and even integrating AI into their military is mind-blowing. I'm sure there are even um, weapons of distractions that they even haven't even brought to light yet for everybody to know. And there's this thing that people are talking about, that with these tools and these equipments, these military weapons and all of these things haven't been tested yet. And so people are saying that is this going to be effective? Are they going to be, as promising as China is making it look? Because this is more like a very solid sales pitch and all that. But one thing that China is really using is they have one of the world's most powerful military and even the largest navy seal in the whole world, but they rarely use it. And that is one principle in the book The Art of War, written by the author Sun Chin. You know, you have the biggest military, but you rarely use it. This is a sign of peace. This is what we call a, a great country, a great leader. You might have the biggest military, but you rarely use it. And even the fact that China doesn't use its military but even helps other countries, gives their weapons to other countries to fight their wars and all that, is crazy. Because recently China gave um, weapons to Pakistan to go and fight their war. And it was crazy. It was very, very interesting, So yeah, China has really done a really good job. One thing I want to talk about is what is in it for Africa. What is this message telling us about Africans? So one, I would say that it is time for Africans to also rise up, because whilst other countries are fighting for their future, making plans, generational plans and investments for their countries to develop in the next 5, 10, 20 years and all of that, African leaders need to rise up, and do something solid for its people. Because right now it seems like everybody's sleeping, nobody's doing anything to help their country. That is why globally, when you go anywhere, Africans are being bullied. Especially they use their visas as a weapon. They weaponize their visa. So it is a call to Africans to rise up, especially our leaders to rise up and do something generationally helpful for their people, for us. Why this really matters to Africa is there's a global shift in power. And at this point, every country is rising to grab it. And anybody can get it, actually. China can grab it, Russia can grab it, North Korea can grab it, India can grab it, Africa can grab it, Latin America can grab it. It is up to us to make the changes. Or even if any of these countries don't grab it, it can even stay with the West. Who knows? But then what we know is that there is a global shift in power. Africa needs to stand up for themselves and think and plan generationally what is going to help us, what is going to develop us and all of that. We need to develop our military and all of those things. They are very, very important, because right now the major thing that every country needs, it's security. It is very, very important, because when you don't have security, any country can invade you, and it can be a downside for you as a country. That is why I really like Burkina Faso so much, because they are really investing in their security. They are making partnerships with Russia, with China, to help them, help them develop their military. They are sending people all the way from Russia to come and train Burkina-based soldiers to fight wars and win them. They are making partnerships, deals to bring weapons all the way from Russia to help fight terrorism in West Africa. This is really, really great, and this is really, really important for Africans to, look at what Burkina Faso's leader Ibrahim Traore is doing to help their country. And mind you, in the next 5 to 10 years, Burkina Faso is not going to be the country it is today, because right now they are making some crazy laws and some crazy decisions that is really, really helping their people. And it's up to us Africans. If we become a global superpower, it is up to us to come together as one people to plan for ourselves and make Africa great again. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think this parade was a really solid sales pitch? Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you guys on the next one.